Introduction. The Scooby-Doo franchise is one of the most enduring in animation history, captivating audiences since its debut in 1969. From the iconic mystery machine to the unforgettable catchphrase, "I would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for those meddling kids," Scooby-Doo has left a lasting impact on pop culture. Over the decades, the series has spawned countless adaptations, reboots, and spin-offs, all retaining the core elements that made it a hit. Fun mysteries, a quirky group of friends, and a talking Great Dane. But recently, Velma tried to put a new spin on this beloved formula, and it has sparked controversy among fans. In this video, we're going to take a look back at the previous Scooby-Doo shows, from the original 1969 series to more modern iterations, and explore why these shows captured the hearts of so many viewers. Along the way, we'll compare them to Velma and see why it failed to live up to the legacy of its predecessors. Strengths of previous Scooby-Doo shows. What made the Scooby-Doo franchise so beloved over the years? Let's start with the characters. The original gang, Fred, Daphne, Velma, Shaggy, and of course Scooby-Doo, are more than just a mystery-solving team. Each character brought something unique to the table, and their chemistry is a key reason why the franchise has lasted for over 50 years. Fred, the leader, was always resourceful and confident. Daphne evolved from being the damsel in distress to a character with more depth and skills, especially in later versions. Velma was the brainy, nerdy sleuth who always figured things out, while Shaggy and Scooby provided the comic relief, balancing tension with their food-loving, scaredy cat antics. The fact that each character remained relatable and iconic across generations played a huge role in the show's ongoing appeal. The mystery-solving formula is another strength that kept audiences hooked. In each episode, the gang would arrive in a new town, encounter strange occurrences, and set off to solve the mystery. While the structure was formulaic, splitting up to find clues, running into monsters, and revealing the culprit in the end, it never got old. It was simple but effective, and fans grew to love the predictability of the unmasking moment. There was always a twist, a red herring, or a clever plot device that made the mysteries fun and engaging. The episodic format also allowed for flexibility, with each adventure offering something new while maintaining the show's core identity. This balance of fresh plots within a reliable structure is something the franchise mastered and has struggled to replicate in more recent versions. Humor and lightheartedness were also integral to Scooby-Doo's success. The older shows managed to blend comedy with suspense in a way that appealed to both children and adults. Shaggy and Scooby's comedic timing was spot on, with their cowardice and appetite providing endless laughs. Their over-the-top reactions to danger became one of the show's trademarks. Additionally, the shows were self-aware. They didn't take themselves too seriously, which made them even more enjoyable. This mix of humor and mystery created an atmosphere that was both fun and thrilling, making it a family favorite across generations. Take Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? For instance, the original 1969 series set the tone for what would become a staple in animated TV. It introduced this simple but engaging mystery-solving formula and brought in that quirky character dynamic that still resonates today. Later versions like What's New? Scooby-Doo and Scooby-Doo. Mystery Incorporated updated the animation and storytelling while still keeping the heart of the original intact. Each era of Scooby-Doo brought its own charm, but the franchise consistently delivered on its promise. Thrilling mysteries and timeless humor. Lastly, character consistency is another major reason why fans kept coming back. While animation styles evolved and plotlines became more intricate in later versions, the core traits of the characters remained the same. Fred was still the fearless leader, Velma the genius, Shaggy the lovable coward, and Scooby the heart of the group. This continuity across different eras and adaptations gave fans a sense of familiarity, even when the stories and visual designs changed. It's this consistency that Scooby-Doo fans have come to love, and it's one of the reasons why the franchise has stood the test of time. The classic Scooby-Doo shows had a winning combination of relatable characters, an engaging mystery-solving formula, humor that bridged generations, and consistency that made fans feel at home no matter which version they watched. These strengths not only define the franchise, but also set a high bar that future adaptations would struggle to meet. Transition to Velma. As the Scooby-Doo franchise continued to evolve, fans grew attached to its familiar mystery-solving format and beloved characters. However, HBO Max's Velma made a bold attempt to break away from that formula, offering a darker, more mature take on the series. The show focused entirely on Velma Dinkley, diving into her backstory while leaving out key elements like Scooby-Doo himself. While the idea of giving Velma the spotlight may have seemed promising, the execution left many fans puzzled and disappointed. Instead of staying true to the core elements that made Scooby-Doo successful, Velma introduced drastic changes in tone, character personalities, and humor. The result was a series that felt disconnected from the original charm of the franchise. While previous Scooby-Doo shows thrived on their lighthearted mysteries and comedic balance, Velma took a much darker, more cynical approach, which alienated many longtime fans. In the next section, we'll explore why these changes didn't resonate and how Velma falls short compared to its predecessors. Comparison of the two. Now that we've explored what made the classic Scooby-Doo shows so timeless, it's time to dive into the stark differences between these beloved series and HBO Max's Velma. While Velma aimed to bring a fresh, more mature take on the franchise, it ultimately missed the mark in several ways that left fans disappointed. Character changes. One of the most notable differences is in the portrayal of the characters. In the original Scooby-Doo series, Fred, Daphne, Velma, Shaggy, and Scooby had clear and distinct personalities that balanced one another, making them an iconic team. Velma completely reworks these characters, stripping away their charm and chemistry. For instance, Velma, the intelligent and socially awkward problem solver, is now remained as a snarky, overly cynical lead who is difficult to root for. This version of Velma feels disconnected from the lovable brainiac fans adored. Fred, who was the dependable and courageous leader, is reduced to an exaggerated caricature, presented as clueless and unlikable. These changes alienate longtime fans because they break away from the core traits that made these characters resonate in the first place. In contrast, the original series maintained consistency across multiple adaptations, keeping the character's essence intact. Fred's leadership, Velma's wit, Daphne's evolving independence, Shang's lovable cowardice, and Scooby's playful innocence were core elements that remained unchanged. Velma's reinterpretation abandons these timeless traits, leaving audiences wondering why they should care about this new version of the team. Tone and humor. Another glaring difference is the tone. The original Scooby-Doo shows balanced humor with light suspense, keeping the atmosphere playful and fun. Shaggy and Scooby's antics were the comedic backbone, and even the villains had a certain charm to them. The tone was never too serious, which is why Scooby-Doo appealed to children and adults alike. The humor was simple but effective, often leaning on slapstick and clever dialogue that fit the characters. On the other hand, Velma takes a darker, more cynical approach that many fans found off-putting. The humor in Velma feels forced and overly mean-spirited, far removed from the lighthearted charm of the original. For example, Velma's character frequently resorts to sarcastic quips and mean-spirited jokes, which make her seem more abrasive than clever. The show's attempts at edgy adult humor often fall flat, feeling like a forced departure from the witty, family-friendly tone that defined the earlier series. In trying to be mature, Velma lost the balance that made the original shows fun and accessible to all audiences. Mystery-solving formula. One of the biggest strengths of the older Scooby-Doo shows was the straightforward yet engaging mystery-solving formula. Each episode followed the gang as they unraveled clues, encountered supposed supernatural threats, and eventually unmasked the real villain. This formula, while predictable, was comforting and engaging, making viewers feel involved in the mystery. The appeal lay in the puzzle-solving aspect, as well as the entertaining dynamics between the characters as they work together to crack the case. In contrast, Velma veers away from this mystery-solving element, instead focusing more on character drama and social commentary. While there are hints of mystery in the series, it's not the central focus, and the show's attempts at exploring the characters' personal lives overshadow the mystery aspect. With this departure from the core essence of Scooby-Doo, the mysteries leave a gap in the show's narrative that many fans found disappointing. It's hard to feel like you're watching a Scooby-Doo series when the very thing that made it so iconic, the team solving mysteries together, is largely absent. Emotional connection and legacy. One of the main reasons fans have stayed loyal to the Scooby-Doo franchise for over 5 decades is the emotional connection they have with the characters and the stories. Whether it's Fred's confident leadership, Velma's clever deductions, or Shaggy and Scooby's hilarious cowardice, these characters have become part of pop culture history. Fans grew up with these personalities and found comfort in their familiarity. Velma, however, lacks this emotional connection. The characters feel too distant from their original counterparts, and the humor and tone create a barrier rather than inviting audiences to care about what happens next. Moreover, while the classic Scooby-Doo shows evolved with each new iteration, they always maintained a respect for the source material, honoring the original show's legacy. This respect is what kept fans invested, even as the animation styles changed or the stories became more complex. Velma doesn't offer that same respect. Instead, it feels like an attempt to deconstruct the very things that made Scooby-Doo beloved, which alienates the core fanbase. Velma attempted to modernize the Scooby-Doo franchise with new character dynamics, a darker tone, and adult humor, but in doing so, it strayed too far from what made the original shows work. The older Scooby-Doo series thrived on character chemistry, engaging mysteries, and a fun, lighthearted tone that appealed to viewers of all ages. While Velma may have had good intentions, it ultimately failed to capture the magic of its predecessors. Conclusion. In the end, it's clear why the classic Scooby-Doo shows have remained beloved for over 5 decades. They struck a perfect balance between engaging mysteries, relatable characters, and lighthearted humor, making them timeless for audiences of all ages. Each adaptation, from Scooby-Doo, Where Are You?, to Mystery Incorporated, respected the core elements of the franchise while still evolving with the times. These shows maintained the charm and fun that made fans fall in love with the gang and their adventures in the first place. Velma, while ambitious, ultimately strayed too far from the essence of Scooby-Doo. By changing the characters, tone, and focus, it lost what made the franchise special in the eyes of longtime fans. The older shows will always be cherished for their consistent character dynamics, fun mysteries, and comedic appeal, and they continue to outshine the more recent attempts to reinvent the formula. So if you're looking for the true magic of Scooby-Doo, there's no need to look further than the classic shows that have stood the test of time. If you've enjoyed the video and if it's not too much trouble, consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. It means a lot.